What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Rivian. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's really been moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, Rivian is up 0.52%. So it has been lagging over this last little bit. Extreme volatility so far today. So 616 the low, 652 the high, and for volume, 4.12 million shares being traded within the first 45 minutes of the trading day. 54.4 is the average. And I always like to look at where the volume does come from because it is kind of important. For instance, today, based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price, majority of the transactions being done are sells coming from institutions. So I'm sure some of you might be wondering, why the hell are we green today? And especially over this last little bit. And I cover quite a few different stocks, not necessarily just under this channel, but many different channels. So you've seen a increase in algorithmic trading, and algorithmic trading kind of works both ways, positive and negative, and it just piggybacks off of the market sentiment for the most part. And yesterday GDP came out better than anticipated. A lot of bears are saying that it's outdated information, but needless to say, the algos kind of took that and pushed a lot of stocks higher. And so all in all, that is why you had pretty much the whole market excessively green, even though institutions weren't really doing all that much yesterday. So yesterday you did have a lot of institutions selling. So it's kind of, this is why I like to analyze where the volume is coming from, because the first sign of weakness, the algos get kind of turned off, or if not, they get turned bearish. And this is why you have a significant pullback, because there is no strong support levels. Institutions aren't adding that support because it's the AI that's been really driving it higher. So as of right now, it's not necessarily the best. The market is reacting to PCE that came out this morning, and a lot of media is looking at PCE right here, and which did come in flat, but rather the Feds look at core PCE, which is a true indicator of inflation. Month over month it came in flat, but year over year it did come in a little bit hotter than anticipated. So 2.6 versus 2.5. So not necessarily the best. So I think right now just the market wants to go higher. And so this is why you see a lot of the indexes very green. Right now this data hasn't affected the interest rates or likelihood of a cut. So for the September 18th meeting, there is a 87.7% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut, and then a 11.9% likelihood of a 50 basis point cut. For the November 7th meeting, you have a 59.2% likelihood of a 50 basis point cut, or a following 25 that is followed by a 7.6. So I think in reality, if this does come to fruition and there is back-to-back cuts, that will be that big catalyst for the whole EV sector, which is very sensitive to interest rates, as well as I brought up like 2 weeks ago, a big market rotation. If this does happen, then a lot of money from kind of just sitting in money markets will rotate back into equities. So I kind of talked about that already, so I'm not going to dive deep into that. As of late, there hasn't been all that much in news for Rivian. For SEC filings, there was this 8K that came out, and this is why you had, as you can kind of see pre-market, there's this crazy just sell down to around 1620, because it did show the COO is kind of just abruptly leaving as of today, so July 26, 2024. So even though this might be legitimate for legitimate reasons, it's never a good sign, especially whenever any board member or any member kind of insider does just abruptly leave. So I get some people have personal issues and whatever, but it just says that they're resigning due to pursue other opportunities. That doesn't happen overnight. So again, I think the market is being propped up because of PCE data today. But in reality, if the market was normal, this news right here would have caused Rivian to go down quite a lot, because this is a very big question mark, my crappy penmanship or mousemanship. So it's a very big question mark, and it's definitely not a good sign. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Looking at shorts right now, they are returning about 262,000 shares. 16.69% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 118.23 million shares. Utilization is 56.59. You can kind of see right over here, shorts have really returned quite a lot. So shows that Rivian, I know I'm going over a lot of data and stuff like that, but Rivian fundamentally is doing a lot as of late. So I think a lot of us can kind of agree to that. So shorts have returned quite a lot. So it went from roughly 21% short interest, which was kind of the high, to where we are now. So that's kind of a positive thing. But at the same time, if you look at the stock price during that time frame, it didn't really correspond and didn't really go up that much in comparison to what shorts return. So it shows more of a lag. And actually, while I'm on here, what I'll do is I'll pop over to IBKR. So this is the Elliott Wave Technical. So it does have a pivot point of $14.50. So for as long as Rivian is above that, then it is anticipated to still get between that 2140 and 2280. But if it does break below this pivot point right here, which coincidentally is that 50-day moving average, then this is where it could hit that $10 range once again, or possibly 12. Regardless, a lot of volatility. And looking over here, no new analyst ratings. So last one was done 4 days ago. Bank of America, no price target given. John Murphy, 54% success rating. $8 or 8 days ago, then 9 days ago, and that I believe was piggybacking off of RJ's decoder interview. I did partially on and off listen to it. It was like an hour long. I didn't really have all that much time to kind of sit down and listen to it, but yeah, clearly giving 17, 18, 16, and $15 ratings, definitely not the best. So given as a consensus for everything, $17.83 is the consensus, and that does represent a 10% upside. Latest Morningstar report that just came out does show the fair market value for Rivian just based on its assets being $17.21. So once again, that's kind of a quick overview of some of that data. On a side note, I'll do closer to their earnings a full analysis on what analysts are expecting for earnings and stuff like that. On a side note as well, if you're looking for a lot of good free information, such as everything I just shared with you, take a look at IBKR for it, like I said, to be completely free. Link in the description below and also the comments. Moving on, looking at options. Right now, again, the market's only open in roughly around an hour, somewhat. 837,000 in calls, 234,000 in puts. 48% of all the options being done so far are optimistic and bullish. Looking at the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly around $17 by their earnings. So obviously not that much upside is anticipated. And then looking at puts, you do see a consensus for it to be sub 1550. So more of a breakdown based off of their technicals. With it at 1632, it is trading between this R1 and R2. So in comparison to a lot of other EVs, somewhat lagging a little bit, but 1568 is going to be that next strong support. And then flip side, 1714 is going to be the next strong resistance / target. In my opinion, I don't think either of them are going to be touched today. Possibly going into next week it might, but on the actual chart itself, it is wanting to break down a little bit further, so transition from the higher to the lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. Based on the Elliott Wave Technicals, it does have that right here, that 50-day moving average, the green line, as that very strong pivot, so definitely need to watch for that to kind of be that make it or break it point with Rivian. And looking on the stochastic, you do see it's somewhat neutral, so not considered overbought nor oversold, but you do see a very bearish deviation. And as well, just number of retail investors have been getting out ever since it looks like the 12th. So all in all, it's mixed data. So you do have some bearishness. So I think the optimism associated to their upcoming earnings is starting to diminish a little bit. So I think right now it's just in consolidation mode. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But in my opinion, just need to watch for these next strong support and resistance points to definitely hold. So 1568. And again, if that fails to hold, 50-day moving average, which is kind of in the middle right there, is going to be their saving grace. So all in all, let me know your thoughts on Rivian. This is a very quick overview of Rivian. Oddly, I did get quite a few comments requesting Rivian videos, so here you have it. So yeah, let me know, have you been buying? Have you been selling? What do you guys think about their upcoming earnings? Are you bullish, bearish? And I know I didn't pay attention to that interview, like I said, the decoder one, that's like an hour long. For those of you that did listen to it, was there anything that stood out to you that was maybe new information, or was it just more regurgitating kind of stuff like that? So what's your thoughts? And one final thing, there's only a couple days left, so make sure you guys take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So might as well take advantage of some free shares. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.